Live? Yes.
We are live.
Love it. I'm excited.
All right. Well, we got a hefty topic today, Jennifer, right? We want to talk about how much time should business events that target women spend on self-care and mindset versus actual business stuff. Because we were recently at an event and there was 90% self-care mindset and then like 10% on actual business stuff. So we would love to know what you think, when you go to events, what you expect, what you want, and what you like.
Yeah, I just want to know. I'm curious to see what other people say, particularly women, obviously, since we put on a women's focused event, or events, I should say. So I can speak for me personally. I love like business strategy and knowledge. I love networking and connecting. But personally, I don't need a lot of like motivational stuff. I feel like I'm pretty good at motivating myself and being sort of driven. So I'd rather have the tactical and the networking.
Yeah, me too.
Mary Sue is here, but she's not. I mean,
I'm sorry.
She's so busy. She's just taking calls. Just like Hollywood over here.
Hollywood.
I'm trying to hold the show.
Well, I really thought this was a good topic because I actually don't mind some of that stuff, but when you do step back, it's kind of like, well, what business stuff did we talk about? What I go to a conference for, and let's be honest, that kind of split would never happen for a business event that is targeting both men and women or just men, because men aren't going to pay attention to that as much. I mean,
yeah. Well, and with that said, here I'm a walking contradiction as usual. I completely believe and understand in the importance of a mindset, particularly when it comes to business and thinking bigger and that sort of thing, and being, accepting that role of CEO. I totally get that. I also believe that self-care is important because us business owners tend to run ourselves a little ragged, and if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not taking care of our business. So I get that. This is what I don't like. And I see this over and over again. I don't like the assumption, and maybe this is a little different than what you're talking about, Mary Sue, but I've been to a lot of women's events, networking conferences, and there seems to be an underlying assumption that we need self-confidence, self-esteem, we don't feel like we're enough, that sort of thing, where I don't like that assumption because, for instance, I went to a networking event. It was a women's networking event, and we were introducing ourselves, and a woman stands up and she says, "I just want to let all of you know that you belong here." And I was like, I never thought I didn't belong here. I was invited. There wasn't anything. You asked me to come. Like, why wouldn't I think I belonged here? So there was just like, I'm going to validate you. You need to be validated. I don't need to be validated. I can validate myself. I have enough self-confidence and, in general, that I don't have that doubt, that I need somebody else who I don't even know to tell me I'm worthy of even being in the room. Like, why would that even come up? I don't understand.
Well, and we have someone that agrees with us.
Oh, you have to, do you have that little link where they can give permission?
They might be on the business page, which I think doesn't.
Poo-poo.
But thank you for your comment. Put your name in there. That would help us.
Yeah. Otherwise, our view right now, it has you as just Facebook user and no face. A little creepy, but
that is a really good point, because then it just puts you off on this. I don't know. I feel fairly confident in what I'm doing. I and I've been going to business events. Maybe that's also part of it. Was in corporate for 20 plus years. So going to, it's Janet Gorman. Yep. And I've been going to business events for years with men that, and so of course I expect to belong. That's why I paid. That's why I showed up. Yes, I feel like when I go to those kinds of events where there's a lot of focus on women not taking enough time for themselves, that we're not focusing on the big discrepancy. I just heard this the other day. Women hit the $1 million revenue mark like 1 to 2% of the time.
Yeah.
Male-owned businesses are, I want to say, 3 times more likely to hit $1 million. It might have even been more, but it was so shocking of a number. That's what these events should be focusing on. And I'm pretty sure it's not because we aren't taking enough time for our self-care that we're not getting there.
Yeah. It's not because you didn't have that inspirational quote staring at you on your desk every day.
It's because there's something else. And I honestly don't know what exactly it is, but I know for myself, it is more around how do I get out there, be visible. I do need some courage there, but how do I be more visible? And how do I position my business properly?
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell you, I mean, part of the problem is women have not been at that business table for as long as men. I mean, we know that, right? Like this is a relative in the span of time, we have been at the table a nanosecond. I mean, in our lifetime, the only job that women had at one point not too long ago was secretary or teacher, housewife. Nothing is wrong with any of those, but our choices, the fact is our choices were very limited. I mean, come on, we haven't even been able to vote that long. And we're just now starting to get into positions of power in the government. So yeah. we are definitely making up for lost time. So when you're not invited into those rooms, like we have a backlog of, knowledge and comfortability that we are, quickly catching up. But I think that's part of it. I think that's a lot of it. But I think as women, we can't continue to assume that we aren't business savvy, we aren't self-confident, we're not ambitious. Like all of these things, I feel like I am. Obviously, in various moments, I'm not confident. In various moments, I'm, imposter syndrome comes in. And we should, help each other during those moments. But we shouldn't assume that just because we're women, we have these issues and they're keeping us back, holding us back.
Yes, I agree. So what do you want to see in an event, Jennifer?
I want to see people that are successful, more successful than me, particularly women. I want to find out the challenges they had, the things that worked, the pivotal moments that they have contributed to their success. I want to have access to those people to bring them into, my humble network. And I want hardcore strategies and things that I can walk away from and apply to my own business. As well as, to me, I think just building that network has so much value. So that's the other component.
Yeah, I think for me, I do have, I don't know if they're really limiting beliefs, maybe more confidence issues, but how I'm pricing my products is definitely a challenge. I'm not saying all men do this, but a lot of men will come out and say, my thing is $10,000. That's how much it's worth. That's how much I'm selling it. And women will start out, I've done it. Well, I don't have any clients yet. Of course it is worth $10,000, but really I should start much lower and build on, that confidence and testimonial. So I'm going to start at $1,000. So even just right there, and I've done it. I'm doing it. I'm sure that to me is what I want to see. Well, how do we get over that? How do I get more confident that when I say it's the value should be 10,000, that I am willing to put that out there as the price, strategies for that. I mean, that's honestly why we brought in Melanie Palmer back at Six Figure Salon, because there's a lot of pricing strategy. But I see a ton of women where we undervalue what we're doing and we start too low. And once you start getting momentum with your business and you're at that lower price point, it makes it really hard to add the staff you need to ramp up.
That is all true. But I also think you've also talked your way around back to mindset too. Because I think you do need that combination, like that 1-2 punch of strategy and then that mindset, which is really just a way of viewing the world a little differently than where you're where you normally what you may be normally conditioned to think. Facebook user anonymous one, you want to read that out?
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, so she just lost a job because she estimated that the project's worth was more than the client thought it should be. So I like that.
Not my idea. Good for you. And that's what I'm talking about. This, that having that confidence to say that is so powerful. So yeah, I think women make tremendous leaders and business owners. I mean, the women business owners that I've encountered throughout my life, and I've encountered through the Small Business Grit virtual experiences, are amazing. They're confident, they're powerful, they're smart, they're strategic, they're giving, and they're generous with both their time and their knowledge and their expertise. So I don't know. I just think just be careful. Like, don't make an assumption that just because we're women, we need a boost, that somebody needs to fix our self-esteem. And the other thing I don't like is I don't like it when people are like, we're going to be vulnerable. Like, no. I can assure you, when you come to the Small Business Grit virtual experiences, the Next One Sales Circus, no one will ask you to be vulnerable. You do not have to cry to be successful, okay? You do not have to cry at any of our events, and nor do we encourage it. We are strong, confident, powerful women, and we are good with that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The vulnerability. I mean, I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. When I hear that, I'm like,
cry. It means cry.
I did cry at my sister's virtual engagement party last night, which I didn't intend. So I do it. I am capable of it. But
of course, we're human. We don't have like a black heart feelings. I'm just saying that when it comes to business moves, less crying, more big, bold business moves.
Yes. Yeah. The other thing that I feel like, and you know what, I should be going to Talmar's events more, just because my question is around, well, how do you know how much you should be investing in staff, whether or not they're, a virtual assistant or an employee? But what's the magic number? Because women tend to wait too long to hire, which is why we need so much darn self-care, because we take on too much. We're not willing to invest in that, additional support. And I don't know what the right number is either.
It's way before you think you do, because if you don't bring somebody on in the early stages of your business, a couple of things are going to happen, right? You're not going to price your products or services accordingly because you haven't taken that cost of help into account. And it's just inevitable that you're going to need help. That expense is inevitable. So the sooner you factor it in, the better, so that you can.
I like that. I really like the way you're saying that, because you're kind of like, because we also, I think all business owners do this, we just assume our time is free.
It's not free.
It's not free.
And it's not limitless.
Right.
And it's not renewable. Sorry, it's a hot spot for me.
But if you start hiring, even virtual staff, you have a cost that you can associate it with that time. And so it'll push up the cost of your services. to
This
accomplish.
is why, we always, like we said, we women often get accused of not valuing themselves or undercharging. But I think that is a hard core component of that, is that we're, like you said, we aren't factoring in our time or putting a dollar amount to it. We're like, well, it's just my time. Like it's not drawing directly out of my bank account, but it costs you dearly in so many ways. So yeah, I think the sooner the better, getting that help, because you'll price your products and services more realistically and more sustainably. Because what happens too much is that, okay, we wait too long, we're overwhelmed, we're freaking out, we can't take more business, our business is suffering. We finally decide to help to bring somebody on, but it's a hardship. And now we realize, oh, we've really made a huge dent in my profit, and I need to raise my rates or charge more for my products. And now I've got to deal with that and the ramifications of that. So it can get really ugly, really messy, and it doesn't have to be, with a little
Right.
forethought,
Yes. Well, and you know that I have big goals this year for my business. I do have a virtual assistant that helps me on the marketing side, and recently added somebody that helps me on my actual, service delivery side.
Yeah.
Now I've been using a virtual assistant 10 hours a month, so it's not even.
It's not enough for you. I think you need to double it personally. Like,
Oh, yeah, okay, that was my question. So, yeah, do you have like an idea in your head on, you're bringing in this amount of money a month, you should probably have staff for this much? Like, how do you know?
I don't have a formula, like a numbers formula. So I look at it more holistically. I know, maybe I could come up with it, sorry. But I look at it more holistically. Like, I know some of the work that your customer service, person, VA, is doing. And I'm like, that ROI is huge, because you are servicing your existing clients, making them happy. But also, the more help like that you have, the more clients you can bring in, because your personalized customer service, where it's just Mary Sue, is not scalable. It's not sustainable. You need more Mary Sues. So your customer service VA is another Mary Sue. So how can, that's a really good return on those dollars, as far as I'm concerned, because it should be freeing you up to bring in the clients. That's all you should be concentrating on, is writing your book, bring in your business. That's all you should be doing.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think I need to be shifting that for sure in February, March.
It's a process, admittedly. Yeah. It's a process.
Yeah, but it's still like that, determining when that should be happening and what the rollout is a difficult one. So to me, when female-focused events talk about self-care, what they should be talking about is, do you have the right team in place? Are you valuing your time? Those are also self-care. Instead of, are you going to the spa enough and, spending enough me time? That to me those are important, but that's not why I have a self-care problem.
Yeah. Hopefully we haven't lost everybody. I don't know. I'm talking tough. I can't even talking tough today, but hopefully we haven't offended anybody. Maybe, I don't know. This is just how we're feeling in the moment, anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you, Mary Sue. I agree with you, and also, to your question about, like, when to bring on, I don't think there's a switch that's like, okay, full-time staff now. I do think most cases it's a process. So you've started that process, right? You have virtual help. Your business is growing. So the nice thing about the virtual help is it's pretty easy to expand that help with your business so that it's a custom fit. So maybe you only need 5 more, maybe you go from 10 to 15, and, you sit with that for a little while and you see what that feels like and how that's, freeing up that, the time and how effective you are with that extra time. And then you go to 20, and then you go to 25, and maybe that happens over a 6-month period.
Yes. Well, we'll see how that goes. It's going to be faster than that, because I have a bigger I have kind of a bigger goal April, May, that I've got to have a not smoother, but something that's not all me process for onboarding, especially. So what should people expect at the Small Business Grit? I mean, we've talked about what we don't like, partially to just get a sense from others. And actually, I meant to include, I did do a poll in DC Fempreneur last week after I came back from that event, asking specifically that question of,
I saw that.
Yeah, what, I don't even remember the question, but I will say most of the people, it was something about confidence, and most of the people were like, no, I feel really confident. So it's just interesting to me that, let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah, I've attended a few women-focused business events recently, and there appears to be a consistent theme. So I decided to do a poll of this community. So the question was, when trying something new, taking big steps, or following your gut, do you ask permission or forgiveness? And then the options were, trust your gut and take action, need your plan affirmed by an expert, ask permission, ask forgiveness. And ask forgiveness to me is you take action, and when you work for other people, that to me is how I always phrased it, is just go do what you think is right, ask forgiveness later.
Yeah.
But what I thought was interesting, there were 42 people that responded. 37 said trust your gut and take action.
I love it.
So clearly, and it's not that I'm not saying you shouldn't have an expert for sure, and at times I feel uncomfortable with taking the next steps, but it just rubs me the wrong way when, just like you were saying before, when there's this assumption that I need to be granted permission to do something.
Right. And
I don't need permission. That's partially why I'm working for myself. I've already given myself permission. Yeah. So that is just a weird dynamic to me. I want to understand the why and the strategy behind something, not that I need to feel good about something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm willing to make mistakes and fail. Like I don't like failing, but I like making my own decisions and going by my gut. And if I make a mistake or if I fail at something, I know that I'm going to learn from that. And I have enough self-confidence to know that I'll recover. I'm not going to die. I will make it. I'll make something happen out of it. So yeah, I think that is super important. So in terms of Small Business Grit and our virtual experiences, the thing that I like about our events is that not just that there's networking, because networking can be deep, but we really encourage people to work together and collaborate and brainstorm on things within the event. And we do that because we want to spark a more meaningful connection and start people thinking about how they might be able to work together in mutually beneficial relationships after the Small Business Grit virtual experience. And we've seen people do just that. We've seen people do their own events that were collaborated and thought about in a fantasy scenario during one of our signature networking events. And then they went and did their own event that was created, at least conceptually, during the last Small Business Grit virtual experience. So we want to see that happen. We don't want to just network and collect emails. We want you guys to realize the potential for business growth in taking action with other business people, whether that's collaborating on a product, a service, an event, whether that's having a strategic partnership where you work together to create a product or service that benefits both of your audiences. And there's so much potential when you think like that and you have the opportunity to make those things happen. So I like to think that we are a breeding ground for opportunities.
Yes, I think so too. And I also think when we bring experts in, we really want people that are going to show something, a tactic or a strategy and how it really works, not just allude to it or use the phrases that everyone uses and you're like, yeah, that made me feel good, but actually what does it mean? You know, I love the one, work on your business, not in your business. I still don't know what that, I mean, I know what it means, but that's not a strategy.
No, it's a concept. It's not a strategy.
Yeah.
I will say I have applied almost immediately some of the things that I've learned in our previous events, you know, things that were just so doable, tactical, understandable, based on research and science and proven strategies. Like, just to be able to take that, apply it, and help your business grow is really powerful. So,
yeah. Well, I can name a few too myself. Like after Melanie Palmer's pricing one, I went and totally revamped my pricing. I realized that my pricing packages were built just like every other big box CRM, and I'm not. My differentiator is the service I provide to help people actually do it. So I totally revamped my packages.
yeah.
And then Jen DeVore, what I took away from that is to be your own pinup girl for your business. She has a magazine that she publishes as a way of being the face of her business. And so, and we did the pictures for Small Business Grit because we're quirky and we think that our people will like our quirkiness that comes through in our photos. So, and also that's why I'm looking at doing a book. I feel like, why not take the step? Nobody's going to invite me to publish a book.
You don't need my permission.
I don't need their permission. So those are some things that I took away. Well, and Meredith Eaton was a speaker in our first Small Business Grit talking about how a book can really help your business.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff. All right. Well, you feel better, Mary Sue?
I do.
You get that off your chest now. Please, tomorrow night, any of you that are still hanging in there, please come to our Turbo Networking event. It's a Small Business Grit micro experience. It is a Zoom event. You do have to register in advance, but please join other small business owners. This is open to anybody, men, women, and however you identify yourself. It's open to everybody. It's an inclusive event. And what we do is we do a really fast format collaborative networking. So you're going to be in very small rooms with 2 to 3 people with a structured exercise that you'll work together with, and then you will voluntarily share what you come up with, and we'll do that as many rounds as possible in a really fast way. And you'll be really surprised at the types of business connections and collaborations that you can come up with in not only a short amount of time, but in people that you might not have ever envisioned collaborating with.
Exactly. We've gotten lots of great feedback about these Turbo Networking. And we do have people that return for sure, but it is largely people you're not going to have done the event with before. So you will meet new people.
And I'll go ahead and tell a secret and be vulnerable.
Wait, let me get my tissues.
You have tissues? Everybody got Kleenex? We will have another 2-minute turbo ticket deal during the turbo networking event. We've done this before. It's been really successful. It's 2 minutes, offering our sales circus tickets at a very special, never to be seen outside of our turbo ticket deal. 2 minutes. And then it expires and it's over and you won't see it again. So I encourage you to go and get your sales circus ticket at a turbo ticket price if you can, because it really is a really good deal.
Agreed. All right. Well, thank you. And we will see you next week when Katie Nelson will actually be joining us to talk about what, her presentation is going to be at Sales Circus.
I love Katie. Lovely.
See ya.